for a second. All right, so once you get it into a ball like this, you're gonna very slowly start pressing your thumb into the middle. So I've got it resting in my left hand because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you're gonna do everything opposite for me, but you don't wanna just jam your thumb into it, okay? That's not what you wanna do. We're doing slow, measured movements. So you push it a little bit, you turn it, you push in a little bit, you turn it. And as you do that, if you actually kind of drag your thumb, it will also smooth out the inside. Now, as we're doing this, you want to think about what shape do you want your pinch bowl to be in. Okay, I have several different shapes here. If you're going to use your pinch bowl like as the mouth, you might want it wider like this one is. If you need to reshape it like this one is, you can do that at the very end. If you're going to use the pinch bowl as the body, you're going to need to make it kind of longer and narrower. You can smooth those out in a minute if it's cracking. All right, so just kind of think about how you want your bowl to be shaped. And yeah, see, mine's starting to crack a little bit too. And all you have to do is drag your thumb over that, and it will start to smooth out. But the clay does dry out fast. All right, so you can see, and you want to kind of aim for the thickness of like a pencil. So as you're doing this, if you notice a spot that's gotten a lot thinner, and it's surrounded by thicker spots, you can actually kind of take a pinch of the other clay and flatten it out a little bit, and then you can actually press it down on that and smooth it out. Like, think about putting on a screensaver. You don't want air bubbles on it. So don't, make a round section and put it on there. Think about not trapping air bubbles, but you can, if you need to patch a section because it got too thin, you can do that. But that's why we move slowly instead of doing fast movements, because the clay will respond better. And so if you've got cracks starting to form, one thing you can do, you can just pull your thumb over the area. But then you can also, if you dip your finger in water, sometimes it'll smooth out more. Now, when I say dip your finger in water, I'm not actually saying completely dunk your project in the water. That is not what I'm saying, although some kids for some reason think that is what I'm saying. So you want to make sure that you're just using a very, very small amount of water, because you'll notice it gets really slippery. And you always want to make sure that, like, if you're smoothing the outside, I always have part of my hand on the inside to support that back wall. And I'm not pushing really hard because I don't really want the layer to get any thinner. I just want to smooth the section out. So I'm just pushing hard enough that the cracks smooth out. But I'm not trying to change the thickness of the wall or anything. So you really have to be to pay attention to how much pressure you're using. So, and then a lot of times I've noticed, like right around this bottom base, I'll notice that some students, their pinch bowls are a lot thicker. So if you notice yours is thicker down there, make sure you thin that out. You want there to be a consistency of thickness, because as the clay dries out, the thinner areas are going to dry out faster. And what can happen is if you've got really thin areas and then really thick areas, it'll dry unevenly and it's more likely to crack and break. So it's really important that that your walls are all kind of about the same thickness. They're not going to be perfect because we're hand building, and this is the first time for a lot of you. But if you notice how I'm kind of dragging my thumb as I go, now that it's open a little bit more, and that also smooths the surface at the same time. And then you just make sure, one of the things I can't stress enough is that any cracks or little breaks or anything like that, you want those to be smoothed out completely, because when it goes through the drying process and it shrinks, those little cracks will open up more. And if you have any like jagged pieces, they will become really sharp when they go through the firing process, because you're basically turning it into stone. Yes. Yes. Yep. There are cups of water, or there are cups over there that you can put with water. You shouldn't need a lot. So
I might have.
And so once you get to this point, if you need to reshape it to, you know, make a face or something, if you want it to be smiling, you might push it up like this, or that could be frowning also. You can push it on the sides. So it's up to you if you want to change the shape of the bowl, but that'll be the last thing you do. And once you're done finishing up that, we will probably start cleaning up.